Peace and love, peace and love. Hey, y'all, this is Sister Naira. I am here with your Heal on Purpose podcast, another presentation hosted by the Repair of the Black Family, where we are interested in striving to provide effective solutions that is going to help us to eradicate generational trauma, generational drama, limiting beliefs, and self-sabotaging behavior patterns so we may continue to step up in our purpose, our passion as we desire to heal on purpose. Now, today, I'm going to ask you all to please lock in. If you are scrolling through Facebook, I want you to stop doing what you're doing. If you are on my YouTube, go ahead and like and subscribe to the YouTube. And if you are listening via podcast, we're definitely going to ask that you like and subscribe to the podcast so you can continue to get these beautiful podcasts every single week. Now, as you listen to my special guest, I am going to highly encourage that you take some notes, that you drop some comments in the comment section if you are watching via YouTube or in Facebook, so that we would know how this podcast is going for you. And today, I am super excited because I have my beautiful sister and friend and mentor, y'all. Come on now. When I tell you she is one of my mentors, I gotta do better though, but she's one of my mentors, and I'm truly excited to present to you and introduce to most. Okay, my beautiful sister, her name is Sister Colette. She's a home canning. She has a home canning method. Her home canning method is, okay, hold on, let me get this together. Sister Colette home canning method is a method of preserving food in jars for a long time, personal storage. Sister Colette is a home canning instructor. There we go. Inspired to motivate and encourage others, particularly those of Brown, Black, and inner city communities. I am super excited to bring on my sister and my friend, who I gotta say, she's literally saving generations as it relates to this home canning. However, you're going to learn a lot more about my beautiful sister and what she has to offer to the world. So let me bring on my beautiful sister, Sister Colette.
Assalamu alaikum. Pieces. How are you?
Girl, I'm doing wonderful. Please forgive me for butchering up your bio, you know.
It's fine. That's fine.
Forgive me, but you know what? That's why it's so good just to know people, you know, and what I know of you. You are definitely an asset to me and really the whole world. And so I butchered up your bio. So how about you tell the people who you are, you know, something that we really should know about you and how you show up in the world.
Yes, ma'am. So yes, my name is Sister Colette, aka your sister by nature. Okay. And so what I've been doing over the last several years, I've been started off using my social media platforms to educate and inspire us to learn and practice food preservation using the method of home canning. Okay. And so home canning is a way to preserve your food in jars to last you a year and beyond, really. Okay. And so the many benefits of home canning, but that's what I've been doing. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. I do this online. I travel. I go into my community. I've traveled as far as Atlanta several times, Connecticut. I live in upstate New York, and that's what I've been doing.
Wow. Okay, we gonna get into that, right? Because that's an essential need, especially during this time. So, Sister Colette, okay, so you're a home canner, you teach it all around the world, okay? and I'm sure many people are going to be calling you after this show. But tell us, okay, so tell me about your family. What's your family life like?
So I am married to a wonderful brother Ronald Muhammad. This is my second marriage. So we are in our 5th year of marriage. I have 3 daughters, all adult daughters. My oldest is 33. Then I have a 25-year-old and a 21-year-old. She turned 22 yet? Yeah, so all daughters, 4 grandchildren. They keep me busy. Okay. I homeschool a few of them. So definitely they keep me busy. And even though they're homeschooled, They never want to go home. I'm just like, they come over, they come to me, they come to my house for homeschool, and then it's just like, okay, time's up, time. Oh, can we stay? It's just like, it is 6 o'clock. It's time to go, But yeah, so they keep me busy for sure. That's the family life, that's the family setting that I have thus far. My youngest grand is 7 months. Oh my God, that's my buttercup. My butternut. She looks like a butternut.
Yeah. Girl, I understand with them grandchildren. There's an old saying or a saying, like, if you had your grandchildren first, you probably would have had your children. Well, I really couldn't identify with that until I got grandchildren, right?
Right.
And all of my grandchildren are special, but I have like 2 of them. They just locked in with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can't get away from them.
Mm-hmm.
So, Sister Colette, what do you like to do during your spare time? Like, what do you like to do? Because it seems like you're pretty busy.
Right.
What do you do for self-care?
Whoo, sis. Now, wait a minute. You might have hit on a little nerve. You might have hit on something right there. Because I need help in that area, right? Okay. But a lot. This is the thing, because my grandson, my oldest grandson, he's 10. Mm-hmm. And he's actually always, actually all my family's always getting on me. Oh my God, take a break. You're always on that computer. Put that phone down. Oh my God, But I enjoy doing what I do. And they don't seem to get it. Like, I'm like, I like doing this. I like editing videos. I like creating videos and content. I enjoy it, And they're always trying to get me, watch a movie or, do this and that. I'm just like, that's, I just love inspiring. I love creating a piece of content that I can post that is going to make people either laugh or ask questions or learn from. So that's really what I like. But self-care, I guess, self-care is just, me striving to take time out for self. It is a strive. I need to work on that, but I really enjoy doing what I'm doing, to be honest.
I understand. And that's so key. And thank you for your transparency. Thank you for your vulnerability, and thank you for your honesty, because that's really where healing starts, right? It's like, hold up, right there, that's where I need help. And most people can't get that type of help because they don't know how to, really take a look and take a moment to say, I need help in this area. And so, as the listening audience is listening to this tonight, I hope we can take a page out of your book to be able to say, you know what, I need help in that area. And that's just, especially with women, we have to really like take a moment to be able to just focus in on stuff. Because I understand you, girl. I understand, especially when you love doing what you're doing and that it's impacting lives.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I'm going to ask you this question. What would be a future self-care moment? Like, tell me what would that look like?
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a second. Ask the question again.
What would be a future self-care moment look like for you?
Now, the audience ain't going to believe this. They're going to be like, oh, she just saying that. She just saying that because... let me just say this to the audience. I had no idea she was going to ask me this question.
Correct.
Okay. But if I am being honest, my future, I love you, sis. Okay. And it is always on the forefront of my mind or in the back of my mind to tap in with all the services that you offer. Aww. In particular, the retreat, and I think I might have shared this with you a while back, but I have a vision for me and my daughters to have this like retreat with you. Like that's like actually it's what's driving me, in some of my business, like I have got to be successful because I have got to have this retreat with Sister Naira, with my daughters. To work. Excuse me, an audience, my voice is going in and out. I am recovering from bronchitis, so y'all forgive me. But yes, that is just one thing, that I am looking forward to for self-care, because I can't do it by myself. I'm trying, and I'm utilizing different people and different content and different things that are out there that are helping me. I am making, relying, seeking refuge in Allah. right? But we need help in people, right? And you are one of those people. And that is one thing, you know, in my one of the goals that I have for myself and my family, you know, my daughters in particular, for us to join with you one day and just have a great time of uplifting and healing and all that good stuff. But you know, this I didn't know you were going to ask that question, but
It's fine. It's fine.
I swear that is something in my future.
You know what? I just kind of I just like to interview people organically. And so we're having an organic heart to heart talk, and the audience is just privy to our conversation. And what I will say is, like, even with the audience listening right now, definitely we're gonna make that happen. Mm-hmm. And we're gonna ask the audience to help you to make that happen, okay? By supporting your services and doing whatever it is that the audience can do to help you bring that into existence, because we do have a mother, daughter, father, son retreat coming up in August of next year. And so, yeah, we planned it out a year in advance so people can get with it. And, money is not a process or a situation. Okay. So we'll talk about that a little later on. However, and you brought up something very key as it relates to healing, and taking care of yourself, especially as women with our daughters, right? So tell me, like a chapter in your book that, why would you want to have that opportunity to do some healing with you and your daughters?
So I think that for me personally, there is a lot of me that they don't know about, and I think that I made the mistake of trying to shelter them and paint a perfect picture of the life that I wanted for them so badly, right? And so I didn't share so much of my life. And unfortunately, right, because there's like so much on me now that I'm carrying that I really can't, engage with them about, because they are clueless about it anyway, right? And so I think that had I been more open with them about things, maybe they would have been more open with me about certain things. Mm-hmm. And so that is one thing, that I'm seeing, is an issue. And I think that something like that would probably help, or get me in the right direction of dialogue and things like that. And, I've sought out different avenues, but I need a certain type of guidance and healing on this path to healing. And that is why I'm looking forward to, I've tapped into some of your service already, and they've already been phenomenal. And they were just like a thumbnail of what you offer. And so, it's a repair of the Black family, and so that's basically what I'm striving for on a daily basis. We are damaged people, damaged goods. So
look, sister, you know what? As we're striving to help the Black family, the first family that has to be repaired is mine. And it's a work. Every single day I have to strive and struggle to put in the methods, the means and the methods that's going to bring us into alignment, not just with each other, but with Allah or with God. You understand? Like, the devil is, like the old folks say, the devil is busy, but Satan is at work. He is really, striving to just continue to wipe out the Black family. But it's people like you, and it's people like me, and it's people that really understand the assignment, in helping to get us back to where we need to be. And that's one with God, because we shall have heaven on earth, and it's going to come through the Black woman.
Yes.
And so as, I think of that, when it comes to the Black woman, I definitely want to ask you a question as it relates to the value of the Black woman, especially in this time period where we at. What do you see that we as women can, one, access our value and, preserve our value?
Yeah. So for me, it came in a little small pamphlet book called Make Allah Sufficient. Years ago that I read. Do I have it sitting here? Usually I have it really nearby. But anyway, that the Honorable Minister Farrakhan had for us to read. And it changed my life when I actually really read it with an open heart and an open mind. And I realized I had been doing it all wrong. I'm just like, I've been doing this thing wrong this whole time. I'm a whole adult. Like, what is going on? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized that I had to practice making Allah sufficient. Like, it's not an abracadabra thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's the mistake I made too. I thought that just making Allah sufficient means that it's happening, right? But it's actually practice. Like everything that happens in life, I have to make Allah sufficient. When things come up, when trials come up, make Allah sufficient. And then what does that mean? Practice, you know? So that took a while for me to like even realize what that means. Once I started to do that, I started to recognize the value in myself. And I became a whole different person. Like I am becoming even a whole different person by tapping into my value. Like I actually am value, and not just this superficial word value. Like I am really valuable, but I had to really just in making Allah sufficient, you know, through submission, right, and obedience, you know, falling in love with Allah, falling in love with myself, you know, and having this intimate relationship with Allah. That's kind of how it happened for me. That's how I was able to find value within self. And then as I, you know, recently over the recent years began to, you know, want to discover doing for self and creating some type of business for myself, that was key. Like I had to get, and I had to lay that foundation first so that I could venture into this, because you have got to have value of self. For me, I realize in the business world, because it's very spiritual, you know, and you got to recognize the value in yourself, the value in your product. Okay. You know what I'm saying? You cannot get caught up in people's opinions, people's pockets, what they can afford, or what, just because they cannot afford your pocket at this time, afford your product at this time, doesn't mean your product isn't valuable.
Teach.
Right? Oh my God. It's like, and so that you have to get over that. I had to get over that. Like, this person cannot afford it at this time, right? Does not mean that the price is priced wrong.
Right. Oh my gosh. We definitely gonna tap into that. Okay. We listen. We're talking to a business owner over here, and I truly understand, you know, the process, right? The process with that. And so as we're talking and we having this very candid conversation, and you know, if there is a woman or even a man, but in particular the woman that's listening to you, when you say make Allah sufficient, and for those who don't know, that just means make God sufficient, right? By any name or means you call upon him, you know, make him sufficient. What would be one piece of advice that you would tell that person, you know, so it's not cliche, like to really get into that process and be present with the process?
Oh, make Allah sufficient, make God sufficient. For me, what I would say is make yourself sufficient. Okay. Make yourself sufficient. You don't need you are all you need. And when I realized that, I don't have to depend on any external being to validate me, I'm it. And it took me, you know, oh my God. I mean, this is just recent. Like this is only within the last maybe 7-8 years that I started to that process of making Allah sufficient in a real way. Not a cliche. Before, I'm glad you said that, because before it was this cliche and it was really hard to relate to what that really means. And I struggled with that. So I'm just like, okay, so how my bills gonna get paid? I got rent due. Make Allah sufficient. Like, hello, you know, the rent is due. You know, I gotta buy food. How do I make him sufficient and eat at the same time? And that had me in, you know, relationships that I shouldn't have been in, because I'm making them sufficient to help me pay a bill or whatever it is that needed to happen. And so, because I still was in a cliche of making Allah sufficient. But then realizing that it's me, right? I have to see, I got to make myself sufficient. What do I need to do? Do I need to get a second job? Maybe. Do a little part-time job? Do I need to budget better? There's no mystery, God. I got to figure out a way to make God and myself sufficient. And so that's what I had to do. I had to budget properly. I had to cut back on certain things. I had to take the bus certain places, which was sufficient. It was still getting me to where I needed to be. So that was one real way that I started to make Allah sufficient, by making myself sufficient.
Absolutely. When I hear you, it's like I hear two scriptures. Prayer without faith, prayer without works is dead. So that means, making Allah sufficient is pray and then get up and go to work. Exactly. Take action and believe it in yourself. Don't just be a hearer of the word, but be also a doer of the word. And I tell people in any process that we do, and as I hear you speak, because sometimes there are people that's really lost and they want to do it and they just don't know how. They don't have that practicality, and it seems like you just kind of figuring it out for yourself. Mm-hmm. But I always tell people, sometimes you just need that. You need that coach, you need that mentor, you need that accountability partner. You need, even if it's another sister, let's sit down and put together a plan on how I can really start to believe in myself, because ye are all God's children of the Most High God. And I had to first learn how to identify with myself for real, and not as a cliche, that I'm a little God. Okay. And I have some power too. And so especially as women, we've been so destroyed, men too, but as people, we've been so destroyed, we forget that we are the little G's.
Yes.
And so it takes confidence, to really make the God sufficient, because you like you say, you also making yourself sufficient. So let me ask you a question. Did you grow up in the Nation of Islam? How did you get your route there?
Yeah, so I did not grow up in the Nation of Islam. I was it's an interesting story, but I know it was completely divine. So around 2020, the end of 1999, 2020 was around the time there was a case that was going on. It was the trial of I never pronounced his name right. Diallo. But anyway, it was a brother. I think it was the brother that was shot like this ridiculous 40-something times, just this ridiculous amount of times. It was on trial. And then long story short, the verdict came back not guilty, right? And I remember sitting there in front of the TV like, what? Like, this is weird. Like, I'm just like, I just knew, it was just a no-brainer, right? And that was like my first inkling of something's off in the world. Like, something's off in this country. There's this level of injustice is beyond my comprehension, right? Up until that point, I had been brought up in this whole, I had this vision of, we're all equal, we're all free, we all have the same opportunities in life, right? And my neighborhood was very much a melting pot, so I was surrounded by all the nationalities all the time, but that was just like this little thing. So I remember at the time thinking, my husband at the time, I was like, and he at the time was in the 5% Nation. And so he was just dropping these little jewels, and I never understood. I'm just like, whatever, I don't know what you're talking about, right? But anyway, I remember asking him, remember that movie Malcolm X, right?
Right.
He's like, and I'm just like, do those people, are they still around? Like, those people, I didn't even know what they were called, right? He's just like, I remember him laughing at me like, yeah, the Nation of Islam, yeah. So at the time, I'm trying to find the Nation of Islam. And this is completely before Google, right? So this is phone book. This is the phone book era. Wow. I'm literally in the phone book looking for Nation of Islam. Couldn't find it. Then remember, you could use the operator. You could push 0.
Yes, girl, come on, take
the operator was Google. The operator was our God, right? She was that lady could help find us anywhere, right? Yeah. So I pushed 0, and I'm like trying to find Nation of Islam. No help, And I'm just like, this is depressing, you know. Maybe they are this ancient thing that used to be, because that movie was kind of old. I don't know, you know, what's going on, right? And anyway, so one day we're driving through, and okay, brother, your husband going, you know, he gonna shoot the roof around this one. Brother on the corner with a final call.
Right.
And I'm like, pull over, there go one of those people.
Right.
And you know, so we pull over, and I'm just like, it's like I'm starstruck. Like, I'm just like, whoa, this is one of those people like I seen in a movie, right?
Right.
And but anyway, so of course the brother, you know, invited us out, you know, the local study group, and that's how I got it. How I came, my first invitation, or was able to come out. Of course, I raised my hand first time I heard it, you know. Yes, I believe. Right.
Yes, you was ready.
Of course, it's been a path now, you know, from there, because, you know, as soon as you, here come the devil, as soon as you try to level up, you know, for every level, there's a devil, right? So,
come on.
Oh my goodness. So it's definitely been, you know, it was some, you know, some ups and downs in that process, but I always thank Allah for the self-accusing spirit that, you know, was always, you know, like, where you think you're going, you know, I'm like, don't go too far, you know, he's right at that jugular vein, you know. So that's how I came in. That's how I was introduced. And then, you know, a couple of years later, I became registered, and just serving as an MGT in my nation has been the best decision I've ever made.
Oh my gosh, girl, that is a beautiful story. I mean, and I love what you say. You know, it was like up and downs. We have those trials and we have those tribulations. And if anyone is listening to this and you can agree with that, you know, definitely put that in the chat. And so you said it was one of the best decisions that I've ever made. Come on now. I mean, when you can make a decision and you realize, come on, those realizations that it's the best.
Best.
You know, it's the best decision in making Allah sufficient, right?
Yes.
Making the God within you understand that, hey, that this right here was the best. And so you became an MGT and GCC Muslim girl training in general civilization class, right? And so as we move into that aspect of being an MGT GCC in the classroom of God, come on now, this is God's class. This is not like any class,
right?
University that you will ever find on the planet.
That's right.
What value have you extracted from that class that literally you are using in your everyday life that the people can benefit from?
First of all, great question. But we have 7 training units.
Come on.
Okay. Okay. How to rear our children.
Yes.
Okay. Lord. How to keep house.
Yes.
How to take care of our husbands.
Yes.
So, right?
Yes.
Cook at home and abroad. How to, all of those training units have helped to develop me into the person that I am today, and developing into, okay, because there's just so much, right? So really all of those training units have and are shaping and molding me into the new woman of God. Like you said, a new woman of civilization. Praise be to Allah, Lord. But I will say this, there's one class in particular that we were recently in. And so for our audience, you know, that class is head by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He's the head of our class. And so several years ago, maybe about, I don't know, 2014, 15, we were in our cooking class, how to cook. And we were given the instruction to learn and practice the skill of home canning. And so we had a whole curriculum, right? It wasn't a crash course like I teach, you know, but it was a whole curriculum, very lengthy. And so, but anyway, we learned how to home can food. And so the minister is preparing us for the time and what must be done. So this was a while back. And if we look now in the condition that we are, we see what's going on with the price of food, the quality of food, and the availability of food. We can try to get into the mind of the minister and why he gave us this instruction. So all of the classes that we take, they're not just little arts and craft classes. These are life-giving classes, right? They are for a purpose, right? For our survival and for our community. And so what I did, after that class, let me be transparent. When that class was done, I was done. I was done.
Over.
I know I'm not alone. I'm not alone. For anybody that's listening that happened to be MGT that was in that class, I listen, no shade.
Okay.
I was done. I was like, whew, that was a lot. Like, whoa.
Right.
First of all,
out.
I felt like I felt like it was 2 years. I'm like, how long has it been? Like, what's happening? But I was exhausted. And I put them pots and pans it started off in the pantry.
Right.
Started getting pushed a little further, started putting stuff on top of it. And I didn't see them boxes for a long time. But then every now and then I'll make a little jelly or something. I don't know. Right. Very rarely. Mm-hmm. What happened is we started getting a reminder, can while you can type of thing, right?
Right.
Can something today, every week, even to this day, every Saturday we get a reminder, can something today. Mm-hmm. And so what was happening is it was starting to weigh on me and I was feeling disobedient. I was like, ew, it was feeling uncomfortable. Like they keep saying every week, I keep hearing that the minister, they're telling us we can. Right. And I knew that I wasn't canning. And so that was really bothering me because I'm like, why would they keep saying it every week? This is the only thing that I can remember that is constantly being said every week. Like, usually we move on to the next subject or whatever, but it's just like, this keeps being said. And so I started to, like, okay, let me get back into this and just try to brush up on my skills, start canning again. And what happened is I just started, study more. And what was happening is as I was trying to learn more and just get more of a deeper understanding of canning, I was Googling, I was YouTubing and things like that. And it just was not resonating. I'm just like, okay, and they're all telling me the process and they're all telling me how it's done, but it's not motivating me at all. Mm-hmm. One day I came across a sister, Homestead Heart, and she has a new YouTube channel called Homestead Heart. She actually turned out to be a sister at MGT. Didn't know it at the time.
Wow.
And she has this beautiful YouTube. Okay. And she was on there canning. And I fell in love with this sister. I was just like, I've never subscribed to a YouTube channel ever before. Subscribed to the channel. I'm watching her like she's a TV show. Like I'm just like binging. Right. And I'm motivated and I'm inspired and I'm learning and I'm doing it. Right. So that is kind of how I got into building my skill and then realizing as I move forward, and that's another, you might could ask me that question later on how I decided to make it a business, but that's how I increased my desire for canning and my skill in canning.
Absolutely. I mean, we're right there as far as making it a business, because, first, before we talk about the business aspect, every word that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is right, that he gives us, I have found to be right and exact. This is a divine man, right? And he didn't just tell us to can because we just women in the class, right? But, as we look at the conditions of the world today, and we look at what's happening today, especially for our listening audience, how is the canning, what you're teaching, how essential is it for us to get it like right now? Not just right now, but like yesterday.
Yeah, it's extremely essential. So there's many, many benefits to canning. There's many. And it really is not all doom and gloom. I always like to say that it's not all doom and gloom. There's so many benefits to canning. But there's 3 top major ones that for me personally, one has to do with the price of food, inflation. Okay. If we notice the price is constantly going up on food and it's not stopping, it's not going back. Right. And historically, that's just the way it goes. Many of us can reflect on when bread was 30 cents a loaf. So we're not going back to 30 cents a loaf of bread. It's not going to happen. And it's going to continue to go up in price. Food is constantly going up in price, right? And so, but our income is not necessarily going up in price. So that becomes a struggle. That becomes a problem. And so that is one thing. Another benefit to canning is the quality of our food is really not where it should be. So we're not necessarily getting all the nutritional value that we should get out of our foods. When we get, let's see, I don't got one near me, but oftentimes when we have we go to the grocery store, we can barely pronounce, the items in the food that we're buying, right? Correct. Most of it we don't agree with, we don't really want it, but we're forced to get it. We don't even understand what we're reading, but that's what we're forced to have. When you're canning your own food, you can pronounce everything in them jars. You can see inside the jars. You're not going to be fooled by a label. A lot of times the packaging get us every time, right? Chicken noodle soup or whatever it is. Then we get home and it's just noodles. We're like, okay, we got to look for the chicken. Like where the chicken at? Right. But on the picture, it was looking amazing. There's no, mystery when it comes to your canned food. So a lot of us have, maybe some certain allergies. Maybe we don't want all the salt. We don't want all the sugar. We don't want the pork. We don't want, the soy. We don't want a lot of stuff, right? So this gives you control of the quality of your food. And then last is just food security overall. You're securing food for yourself. So home canned food is for the home, okay? So this is not a situation where, if there's a fire, I can grab up all my jars of food and get up out of here. That's not gonna ever happen. This is a shelter in place type of situation. This is home. This is my home security, okay? Maybe I lost a job. Maybe I just don't feel good that week. Maybe I'm down. I'm relying on my jarred food that week. Maybe I'm trying to save up for something. Oh, guess what? We're going to eat our jarred food this week because we got an upcoming bill, or we're saving up for something, right? We're going to, that's what we're going to do. It's securing your own personal pantry. Okay, your own personal pantry that you're securing. So you're not trying to impress nobody. So like people ask me a lot, oh my God, I don't got no space. Where can I put these jars? Put them under your bed, put them in your closet. It's just your own food security. You're not opening up a storefront, So sometimes people, they go on internet and they see these, beautiful pictures like this, nice little cabinet, nice little shelving unit, you don't need any of that. If y'all see where I keep these jars, listen, it's a hot mess. But it's my own personal. Go down in the basement and bring up a jar of bean soup. Okay, right. It's your own personal. So those are the top 3 essential reasons, in my opinion, why we should be canning yesterday. And it's not getting any better. Those 3 things that I mentioned. Inflation will continue. We're not going back to 30 cents a loaf of bread. Okay, we're not going back to that. The quality of food, bad condition. Our food is coming from everywhere, out of country even, the soil is weak. There's just so many issues with the food. So we can just do our best, to at least, preserve it in the best of manner. And then, like I said, security, look at the shelves. It's a global food shortage, this war that we have that's going on, the Russia-Ukraine thing, that is trickling down, and that has a lot to do with the food prices and the availability of food. Okay, so the minister is ahead of the game, right? Has the vision. He already gave it to us. So that's why, to answer your question, it's yesterday, because he said it yesterday. He gave the order yesterday. So that is why we should be canning yesterday. Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. And thank you. That was just so simple, but so powerful, right? And it was guidance and warnings at the same time. So I appreciate that. And one thing I heard you say that I've never really heard it like this, is food security, right? So when you think about security, especially military, we think on all different levels, but I can relate to just living right here in Florida, and I'm sure anyone that's listening around the world, you have your own personal circumstances, but living right here in Florida, when those hurricanes come and flooding, people are at food trucks, right? We're at food trucks. We're doing all of these things where, with this, you can go right into your kitchen or, right somewhere and pull those cans out. So what a beautiful reminder. And we're living in, Sister Colette, what would you say? Because we're living in a microwave world, okay? People want everything quick, fast, in a hurry, especially going out to eat, this, that, and the other. It may feel like I'm just not equipped. I may be too young or I'm too old. What would you say in relations to that, because canning in doing these types of things, if one don't know, it can bring about anxiety. So what would you say?
Ooh. Yes, I'm glad you hit on that word. So, and I think it's in my mission statement on my website. So, one of the things that my mission is to help relieve anxiety, fear, apprehension, and procrastination when it comes to learning how to can. Okay, anxiety, fear, apprehension, and procrastination. Okay, so all of those things we can be wrapped up in, because I was there when it came to canning. When the class was over and then I was home alone to do it, I had some anxiety. I'm like, okay, there's no instructor nearby, right? I don't know if I'm gonna do it right. I had fear of, making a mistake, apprehension, what I'm saying? Then I was just procrastinating, at the end of the day. That's what I was really doing, procrastinating on the whole process. And so that is one thing. That's why, I motivate and inspire. That's my thing, So when I'm putting these posts out there, it's to be a reminder, it's to motivate, it's to inspire, it's to stay on, one's mind that they can do this, right? You talked about the ages. There's no age on food security. We all got to eat, right? Talking about, do I have everything? There's simple equipment for canning. And once you have it, you have it. It's an investment. A canner, some jars, and some utensils. Boom. That's all you need. Okay. And a recipe book to tell you what to make. That's it. And once you invest in those things, you'll have them pretty much forever. Okay. Unless you misplace something, they are very high quality equipment. Okay. As far as the age, it's funny because a lot of people, most of the time, be like, "Oh my God, I remember. Oh, my grandmother used to can." I'd be like, "What you trying to say?"
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
I'd be like, "What you trying to say?" I hear this all the time, right? And I'm like, well, I guess I am a grandmother, so get over it, Colette. You was not, you are a grandmother. Oh, but then I'm just like, I don't want that to make people like, because it depends on the audience I'm talking to, because sometimes it might be a younger audience. It's usually not too young. So sometimes I hear this from people like that might be literally in their 40s. Sometimes they're talking about their grandmother did this, and so I hear that a lot. So, but what I'm noticing and what I'm striving to do is bridge the gap, because really it's only been about a generation, no more than two tops, that people have not been doing this. So this is not some ancient practice. Okay, it really isn't. Other communities are doing this on a regular basis, right? Yeah. So there's just a gap. There's just this one little generational gap that I'm trying to help bridge. So even for me personally, I didn't see my grandmother can, and my mother did not can. She talks about it. I mean, I remember growing up, her talking about, oh yeah, we used my, she used to do this and this and make these different things, but she just never picked it up. She just didn't get into it. So I never seen that. That wasn't in. Some people have that story where they're like, oh yeah, it trickles down. So there's these two communities, there's the one that's completely familiar, and then there's the ones that have no idea, right? So I'm trying to bridge that back together, because it has not been that long. It's not this ancient thing. It really isn't. And like I mentioned before, many other communities are doing this. It's a way of life. And I'm trying to make it a household name and activity again, to where, just like you say, I'm about to bake some chicken, you'll say, I'm about to can some applesauce. It's just this normal thing that happens, not this, elite thing that's going on. I just want to normalize canning again.
Oh, absolutely. That is so beautiful and so powerful. And I had a vision, like while you were speaking, right, of seeing mothers and daughters, and aunties, and from the younger generation to the elders, just having canning parties.
Yes,
girl, I already done seen how you about to be at this retreat. Okay, so anyway. Popped in my head, because you're right. I know, even with me, like my grandmother and everybody would go to Georgia and bring those cannons, bring the food back in jars. And that was like a special thing, But like you say, it has to be normalized, and it needs to be a household thing.
Yeah.
So whatever I can do to help facilitate that, just even with this podcast, I'm lockstep with you, sister.
Yes,
Now we're gonna
ma'am.
get into this business, but I got one more question, because we talk about the mothers and daughters. What about men, can it? They may not have the woman in the house, the man, the wife or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you find men that can?
Oh, yes, ma'am. And there's a huge community out there of men that are canning. Yes, it is. So let's go back. You heard me mention the word security.
Right.
And we are taught that our men are our maintainers, right? They are to secure us. They are to maintain us, right? Food security, you gotta secure us with our food, right? And so there is actually a huge community of men that are actually doing this. Now, you don't see a lot of Black and brown communities doing it, but there are a few. But men overall, there definitely is, particularly of the Caucasian race, large community of them that are doing this. I do have men every now and then tap into my services that I give workshops for and things like that. And I'm reaching out more to that community because that's another thing. I want to bust up these myths. I want to bust up apprehension and procrastination, because it's not just this woman thing. And I recently did a post a couple weeks ago, and it was this brother. He goes by the name of Lead Farmer, and he did a video clip. Why I took a piece of his video, and he was talking about canning. And he was saying, this is not no woman thing. Why do you think I learned how to can? This is about food security. I mean, he was going in, right? And I took that clip and I shared it. And I mean, it thousands and thousands of people were viewing it and sharing it on and things like that. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is something that I got to push more because people can relate to it. So it definitely is men can too. Men can too.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. So we're going to have to tap into that with you as it relates to repairing the Black family, right?
Yes.
So thank you for that. And so we're going into the business aspect. Sister Colette, let me tell you, you are so inspirational on social media. I see you, and I'm like, this sister got a video. She sings, she dance, she can. You just doing it all. And I mean, and I'm not gonna put no age limit on myself, but that social media, believe it or not, I do a lot of talking. But when it comes to Instagram, for me, it can be a little intimidating. Okay? Because there's people like you, girl, you got it going on. Please tell us, how did you take first of all, your instructions from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to being in a class where it was an assignment to now you do it on your own, you fall in love, and now you taking your passion and made it into a business. Please help me understand.
Yes, it's okay. So it's interesting. It is so divinely guided. Okay. But I will say this. So it started back in late 2020. My youngest daughter was heading off to college. I had maybe a year before that became a stay-at-home everything. And so, I was homeschooling, all these different things, but my income wasn't there anymore. So my husband was, he's like, okay, you don't have to work no more. And but it does change the income, right? So I'm just like, I felt a kind of way when my daughter went because I really couldn't supply her what all that I really know that she deserved and needed, right? So that was weighing on me, like this. I don't like this. Don't feel good. I've never been here, right? So also what kept nagging me is do for self. We keep hearing this. What does it mean? It was kind of equal to how I felt with make Allah sufficient, where that kept nagging me. Do for self was like a cliche, right? So I'm just like, but do what? You know what I mean? And so I kept thinking, I was always like, this do for self meant you had to have some business or something. I just didn't even know what it meant. Like, so anyway, what happened was that was bothering me. I couldn't sleep at night. It was really getting to me. And I will say this really quickly. This was around the time when you were doing, you would come on Facebook and go live once a week. I want to say it was like every Tuesday or something like that. And I would sit there in the morning with my coffee and I'd be sitting there, what she got to say? I mean, I was tuned into you like you was a show. Okay. You were a show. And you were just oh my God, I was like, who is this sister? You know, I remembered who you were because you had came near my city once in Buffalo at the church of Scientology. I had met you there, but I would be watching you and I was getting inspired. So that's how it kind of, I was like, okay, this is a little inspiring, you know. But still, what does this do for self thing all about? So anyway, I came across, you know, like one of Brother Ben X posts, you know, and he has this program, you know, and I had been just following him, like, I don't know, you know, and $50, you know, I don't know if I got it, you know. And then finally I was just like, you know, is it a scam, you know? But then I was just like, okay, this is a brother in the nation that, you know, is respected. The minister, you know, has approved of this brother in a sense, you know. So I'm just like, this is a brother, right? Let me just give this brother a chance. We have got to trust one another. Like, this is terrible that I'm sitting here playing with the idea that this could be a scam over my brother. Like, and that's a problem. That's a whole nother conversation. I know you, whole other conversation. These trust issues that we as a people have when it's stopping our development. But anyway, so I finally went ahead and tapped in. And I remember there was these questions. I didn't know what I was going to do. No product, no nothing. And the question was asked like, okay, so what do you do? And I'm like, well, I mean, I homeschool and I can. That's all I be doing, right? I was so embarrassed kind of to even say it. I didn't think that was anything of value. Okay, there's that word value, right?
Come on now.
Okay, I didn't think that was anything of value. I was embarrassed to say it. I wanted to say something else, something fabulous, you know, like I'm an executive at this company and I've, you know, I have all these letters, you know, but I just said those two things and I was just like, kind of like, okay, you know, and then the question was, well, okay, so what are, you know, people always asking you to do? You know, can or homeschool, you know, stuff like that. What would you do anyway if you weren't getting paid? Homeschool, can. So that kept coming up, right? So then I'm just like, is that something? Is that a thing? You know? And so, you know, just different people were just kind of dropping dimes, like, and so I gotta say this really quickly. I was in the program, this was early in, and I took a class with Sister Khadijah Bates.
Yes. Yes.
She was doing a pound cake class, okay? Because she was in the program too. And I took the class. I was making pound cake and everything. There was a couple other sisters in there. And then they recognized me. And they were like, hey, so when you going to have that canning class? And I was like, canning class? They're like, yeah, canning class. So I was like, y'all think people would really pay for that? And they were like, hello, we're waiting for you to start the class. Yeah, we're waiting to pay for the class.
Look at God.
And so I'm just like, really? And so that's how, you know, that was more inspiration, you know, angels in people, right? And so that is kind of what pushed me. And then, you know, of course, I won't say the rest is history. The rest is the present and the future moving forward. Just accepting my own and being myself under the guidance of my coaches. Like you said earlier, you do need some type of coach. You do need some kind of mentor, some type of accountability, because just ourselves in the condition that we're in is not enough. You're already damaged. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and you think that you're going to, you know, build this empire alone. You're not, you know, of course, we got to make Allah sufficient, but there's no mystery, God. We need some human beings in our lives that have some wisdom or knowledge about a thing. And we need to grasp onto that. We need to trust these people. We need to trust somebody, you know? And so I had to make myself vulnerable and open to guidance from these other people, you know? And so they're very good at what they do, the coaches that I have tapped into, including yourself. And it's been just helping me to get into my authentic self, you know, getting out of my anxiety and my fears of, you know, at first being on the camera. And then I found out that I loved it. After I started getting into it, I realized I really love doing this, you know. And first it was all like, oh my God, what people going to think about me when they see me and this and that, and people going to judge me and they're going to say, you know, another thing that was big was charging for my services. That was a big one. Like, okay, so do I charge for this? Like, it's like,
right.
How do I charge for this? Then I was like, and I'll never forget someone, you know, made a statement once, and about me charging for the class, and it was just like, oh, well, we learned this class for free type of thing. And I prayed on it before I responded, and I'm just because that was bothering me if I was being honest, right? And I was just like, oh, now somebody done call me out on it, like, oh, you charging for this? We learned it for free. And I had to pray on it, right? And Allah that was a trial that Allah put on me, right? He made me have to face this. Like, how you gonna respond now? You already feel that kind of way. Now somebody done said it to you.
Come on now.
What you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
I prayed. And then it hit me. And I was like, wait a second. We learn a lot for free. Okay. You might have learned how to make chocolate chip cookies from your grandmother and opened up a cookie shop. Okay. You might have learned how to sew and you opened up a beautiful garment store. You might have learned. We learn a lot in life for free. Okay. Most of us went to school for free for 12 years. I hope you learned something that you took from that. And maybe the whole point is for education. People take education and do something with it. Do something for self. All these things in life that we're learning for free. We take that information and allow our gift to make a way for us, right? And so, yeah. Okay. And so I put it in I responded, a couple of days later, like, we learned a lot for free. Okay. We're not supposed to just sit up here and do nothing with it. And then we're taught, these classes are for us to take to our community. We're also taught to do for self. Okay. We're also taught to make a business for ourselves. That is big. We are to make businesses. We're supposed to be a nation, but we don't want to charge nobody for nothing. We don't want to build what are we doing? So that was, I had to get over that. And once I got over that challenge, I was like, yes, there is value in what I'm doing. There is value in what I'm offering. And you have to have balance, right? And so, yes, I offer free services. I do content that is free. People can access me in all different kinds of ways. But then there are certain things that have a price on it, right? So yeah, that's how that went down.
And that is so key. Number one, what I heard you saying, y'all write this in the comments because it's going to be essential, especially as we move forward in life. You actually had to have the courage to invest in yourself, right? You have to trust that you have the ability to, you have to accept your own and be yourself and trust somebody with your heart, your mind, right? And your ability. So congratulations and tapping into those you had to tap into to do that, because many people, because it comes with a price, they don't want to invest. It's an investment, right? And it's called exchange in abundance. See, you got to give something to receive something in this day and time. And people, what you have, I don't do that. But guess what? Your intellectual property, it does come with a price tag, okay? Because you sat down and took out the time to research and make sure that you're delivering the valuable final product that when your clients walk away from you, they have something of sustainability that can last them a lifetime. Right. We can never put a price tag on somebody's intellectual property. You know what I'm saying? Because now that person is investing in you where you don't have the time to go and get the details of every single thing and package it all together, where I can come into class and sit for an hour after you done did 50 hours of research, right? Hours of trial and error to make sure I got the product that now is marketable. I can sell this product, right? So we do have to get back and get into more and more of understanding that there's intellectual property. You understand? Like, as a coach, I specialize in mental health. I specialize in mindset. I specialize in family. And, all the time, okay, I will call and talk to somebody, but all the time, I don't have 2 hours to sit and counsel somebody through something. And I done gave up time with my husband. I done gave up time with cleaning the house, cooking, or whatever.
Yes.
To be a sister, not saying that I don't, but all the time, I just don't have that time or energy. So book appointments. Oh, you understand? Now we give an exchange because you're giving us, Sister Colette, your energy.
Praise be to God. That's a fact.
Right? So Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that's so key, because your service is needed. Your
Mhm.
service is wanted. Your service is valuable.
Mhm.
And for those who don't have the time to sit and watch YouTube and do what you have to do, they need to be investing, starting with me, investing
Mhm.
in your class, investing in your class, you
Yeah.
know. And so when it comes to mental health and maintaining a business, as we get ready to wrap this up, how does that play a part? How does canon play a part when it comes to mental health? Yeah, mental health. I'll just say that part. Does it have an aspect where you would say,
Yeah, it does. It does, because I will say it when people take my course, and as I'm teaching, one thing, what you know what's beautiful is, particularly when people are doing the online workshops with me, it's a give and take. I meet the most amazing people in every class that I've ever had. I'm learning from them, they're learning from me. Um, the more I teach, the more I can, right? So because I typically 95% of the time I'm canning at the same time they're canning, so that they can see me doing it as well. So they
mm-hmm,
can see me and I can see them. Because they want to, it's good for them to still see the process of you doing it in real time, right? So it's very valuable, you know. It's healing in that sense because of the relationships that I'm developing
mm-hmm,
and the positive feedback that I get. These are people that invested in me, trusted in me, and then they're typically still feeding me during the process because we're engaging, they're talking, they're telling me more. Oh man, you, this is wonderful what you're doing. And you know, not to brag about myself, but they're giving me more ideas and tips like, man, you should do this, like you do a club, you should do this. They're constantly feeding me like different ideas on how I can make my product and service better. Like, oh, people need to know about this. Maybe you should, do a subscription thing, or maybe you should, do this once a month. And so that feeds me, and so it feeds my spirit because it just validates what I'm doing is valuable, is needed, like you said, is wanted, right? And so that's the spiritual aspect. And then just to be doing something in alignment with the guidance of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is beautiful.
yes,
I'm
indeed.
like, when we talk about purpose, and sometimes, and I've heard you talk about this like on one of your podcasts, people struggling with identifying purpose, right? And that was a big thing for me too. I mean, I was in almost a depressed, I was in a very depressed state because I didn't know what my purpose was back in 2020. And I'm like, well, what is my purpose? Allah, God, right? And I couldn't couldn't identify it. I'm just like, I'm clueless, which is crazy, right? Because now what I'm finding out as far as what my purpose is, it's not this one thing. What I'm personally finding out what my purpose is, and this part might sound cliche, but I'll go further, is accepting my own and being myself. But it goes further, because what that means for me is aligning my mind up with
Yes.
Allah, and then moving out on the gifts that he has given me, whatever they are, right? So that's my purpose, and whatever that manifests to be is what it's going to be, right? So I had to let go of trying to find what is this thing, what is this thing to identify my purpose as. So yeah, I am teaching canning. That is a thing that I'm doing, right? It is a manifestation though of me accepting my own, being myself, going to my class, aligning my mind up with his, what it is he's asking me to do, being obedient to what he's asking me to do, and then finding a way to be creative with it and then bring it back to my community. So however that looks is just however that looks, whether it's in a me online doing content, whether it's me going to a library teaching, whether it's me traveling to another state doing workshops, however it manifests. But it started and it starts with me just striving to accept my own and be myself in alignment with Allah. So I think, does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And, alignment is so key, and acceptance, Um, yeah, I do find that we as a people have a lot of resistance when it
Mm,
comes to just accepting who we are, who we
Yeah.
define ourselves to be, because we live from other people's definitions of us. When we
Mhm.
really get down to the core, the basic, we start operating from the personality of my mother or, my sister or, competing and comparing. But when you get to that point of surrendering, and just
Yes.
this is who I am. Like,
Yes.
this is what I love to do, and that takes discovery and recovering who you are as an individual, as a being, and that's a work in progress. So to hear you say that, it definitely says that you have done a lot of work,
Mhm.
some healing. You've been able to sit back and do some self-assessment, some self-analysis. And I understand that purpose grow and purpose also change. So wherever you are, be
Yes.
right there. Be right there with that. Because 5 years from now, 10 years from now, this is for anybody that's listening, you may feel like, okay, I got it. I got this thing. But then you got a divine revelation. That takes obedience, right?
Yeah.
You got a divine to be in alignment. You got
Yeah.
a divine revelation. It's taking you completely away from what you thought you was gonna be doing.
Right. Right.
Right? And so, like you said, you was sitting in there like, is this really a thing? Can I really charge for this? It's divine revelation, right? And so God Allah had already prepared you. He had
Right.
already prepared you. He prepared you to go through everything what the people gonna go through. I was exhausted, I threw them things under there because the people gonna go through that. It's like, how I got over. You understand how I get through this part, so with that being said, I want to thank you so much for taking time out. Now, before we go, I want like for you to, and we're gonna pull up your flyer here, but give us three things, like the people that's watching this right now tonight, that 3 things that they could walk away from of guidance, of take action, right? That listening to you, I could truly say, I got this, and this is my next step. 3 things.
Of like services that I offer, you talking about?
No, just like learning, just life, period.
Yeah. So I think that what you're going to, and what my experience has been, and from some of the feedback that I get from my testimonials, is confidence.
Mm-hmm.
People are just like, oh my God, I feel so much better. I'm confident now. I believe that I can do this. You are definitely going to walk away feeling more confident. Okay. You're going to feel definitely empowered.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for sure. Because you have control now. It's giving you control, which empowers you. Okay, so that's the second thing that you're going to take away. And then I would just say you're going to you're going to be at ease. You're going to definitely be at ease. People are, by the end of my workshops, we are laughing. And we're just like, it's always, I can't believe this is all it was. Did I really just make my own applesauce? Like, are you kidding me right now? So why would I ever buy this again? Right. And so you're gonna just walk away at ease, confident and empowered once you tap into my services, because the way that I teach, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because of all that I've gone through, I'm the customer. So I look at all that I've gone through. What were the things that hindered me? What were the things that I went through? So my products are developed and designed based on the pain that I went through with canning, to be honest. Like, how would I want it to be based on what I went through? Like, how can I make this my way? So you're not getting it the way it was in the class that I took in MGT. That was for the MGT class for a certain reason. That was a curriculum-based program. Right. I teach in a different way. I'm very crash course oriented. I'm very to the point. I'm very, let's get into it. We're going to get into it, right? Because I don't want to lose people, because I feel I can already see a lot of people that take my classes happen to be MGT, and a lot of them. And they share that, oh, after that class, I it was just a lot. I was just done, So they're saying the same things. So I can't approach them the same way through the same method, that they already experienced. How can I pick up from there, right? And so that's what I do. It's like, okay, we're going to bring up the energy, okay? We're going to have some fun. I have music on in the background, and we're going to have some fun with this. Okay. Now that we've got through the curriculum, that's okay. No judgment. All right. But now let's get into some hands-on actionable steps. Okay. Let's get into this course. Did you watch the course? Did you read the course? What's your questions? All right. Boom. Pull out them pots. Let's get into it. That's just my style, how I encourage and motivate and teach.
Oh, that is absolutely beautiful. And so we're going to go ahead and pull up this flyer. So anyone from around the world can take your class, correct?
Anybody.
You don't have to be like in person. It can be online.
Yes.
Am I correct? Okay, good. So we're going to pull this flyer up. Look at that. Book a live virtual consultation.
Yes.
With Sister Colette, let's have a real conversation about your personal canning goals and come up with a strategy to make it happen. 30 minutes is all it takes to get the ball rolling. Mm-hmm. So you can actually book a live consultation with her. Mm-hmm. You can go to her website at www.canningwithcolette.com. Again, that's www.canningwithcolette.com. We highly encourage you, regardless to race, class, creed, or color, yes, book a session, book a consultation. Let's get you and your family canning while you can. That's Again, right. You can go to www.canningwithcolette.com. And Sister Colette, before we close this out, what is next for you?
Well, so I did recently write a book, What is Canning? A few months back this summer, which is going well. And so what's next for me? What I would like to be next for me, inshallah, is really to, I am almost kind of looking into some kind of show. I really want to develop, I do have a YouTube channel and I have neglected it. Okay. But I know that it's really, it's here. It's like, you got to get back on that channel. And so my goal is to really develop that channel more and make it more show oriented, and really so where people can tune in and get involved, with the canning process, to where maybe once a week I'm doing a different recipe that people can tap into, maybe a show of sorts, maybe a TV show, one day, I kind of see that. Right now is, like I said, I'm constantly being invited to go here and there. I'm trying to do more in my community. I'm constantly being pulled to some other state, and I got to pack up the truck and bring all this.
Girl, I know.
Which I love. I do love it. It can be a little exhausting, but I love it because then I get there and people are just, it's amazing. I'm just like, wow, you really were looking for me to really get here. Like, okay. But I love, doing workshops in person as well. The onlines are amazing. They're extremely successful. But the live workshops are amazing as well. The hands-on, coming to where you are. So I'm like a traveling canning instructor at this point. So I travel, I'm doing these group sessions. People are inviting me to come to their sister retreats. And I just met someone. I did a class at a school recently last week. And the feedback was great, and people were coming up to the table. Oh my God, can you come to, my church or my sister's group that we have, So I'm just moving along with the currency, I guess.
Well, honey, I'm going to tell you, I was going to wait to the back office, but I'm going to have to snatch you up right here. You're going to have to be at my retreat. You have to be at my retreat. We're going to have the mother-daughter moments, okay?
Yes. Yeah, it's right in alignment. That is one of my, I was just, the last one I did was in Connecticut. And I did a class there. It was like a 2-day thing. And those are very fun, because people are engaging. They get to make something, with their daughter and things like that. Something simple, applesauce or jellies. It's fun, Yeah. I like to make it fun and engaging.
Yes, absolutely. I know I don't want to put too much about that retreat out, but I know that the brothers is going to be doing something with their sons. So we're going to talk about that. But anyway, so I want to thank you again. This has been absolutely heartwarming, heartfelt. Like I really felt you all the way through.
Likewise.
You pulled me into your conversation, put me into your world,
yes,
and I pray that the audience was able to, gain a sense of confidence just by hearing you speak, and understand this is not for the old, okay?
Right.
Okay. And brothers, y'all can tap in too.
Right.
Okay. And it's not just for the Muslims. Okay. This is not just for the Muslims. This is for anyone who desires to have some food security
Come on. Yes.
around the world. So tap in with my beautiful sister at www.cannonwithcolette.com. And what is your Instagram and Facebook and YouTube?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Sister Colette. You can find me on Facebook, Sister Colette, your sister by nature, and TikTok, Sister Colette, your sister by nature. Okay. YouTube, you can find me, Sister Colette.
All right, so everything, Sister Colette.
Everything, Sister Colette. Yes, Sister Colette. Yes, your sister by nature. You can find me.
Okay, yes, ma'am. So I'm gonna have them to pull you in the back office while I do announcements, and then we'll talk first. Okay, thank you so very much. And that's my sister Colette. Can while you can.
Can while you can. That's right.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Peace, fam.
All right. So with that being said, family, we want to thank you so very much for joining us today on the Heal on Purpose podcast, as we're striving to be able to bring forth to you every single day or every single show process shows that will help you to eradicate generational trauma, drama, limiting beliefs, and self-sabotaging behavior patterns, as we also are working to bring forth to you our next retreat. Come on, y'all. This retreat is going to be amazing. Now, don't let the date August 2nd say, okay, I got time, because no, we are selling this retreat right now. Okay. This retreat is for mothers, daughters, fathers, sons, guess what? Husband, wives, right? Because you are a mother and you are a daughter and you are a son and a father. Okay. Or and maybe a father. So we ask that you take time. We do have a payment plan on this. This is going to be a 5-star retreat in Orlando, Florida. Okay. Again, you can go ahead and start that process at www.repairoftheblackfamily.com to be able to learn more about that, and text us at 727-623-5555. Text the word Orlando, and we will get on a consultation call with you. In addition to the retreat, we also have, if you do not have our book, The Repair of the Black Family, we ask that you definitely get the book. You can get this book from Amazon. You also can get it from our website at www.repairoftheblackfamily.com. We ask that you get this book. We see this book as the healing aid to, or the healing bond to all families. We have 33 powerful authors with telling our stories, lessons learned, and 3 repair actions that you can literally walk away with to apply in your everyday life. You will find yourself in the stories, okay? And I am super, super excited. Y'all know we're in the wintertime, okay? And if you are traveling, you got to go ahead and get your travel. You could throw these right in your purse, put them in a backpack. For the children, these sea moss gummies, which has 102 trace minerals. And I got to tell you, the only warning that comes with this is you might eat too much, okay? Because they are absolutely good. They are apple flavor. It helps with immunity boosting, gut. It helps to improve the gut, clears the skin, and it has bladderwrack and burdock in them as well. And as I take this away, family, I want to just say this. I don't have it up there yet. However, Sister Naira and Brother David, we have kicked off our leadership and development courses, training classes, okay? These leadership and development course classes will help you in any area of life of leadership, starting with yourself, your family, and guess what? Your business. So if you are interested in the 2024 and getting strategies to help you with your leadership style and help your family to become a business, then definitely you want to get with Sister Naira and Brother David with our leadership and training courses. I want to thank you so very much for tuning in today. Continue to help the repair of the Black family by contributions of subscribing to our YouTube, subscribing to our podcast, and continue to support the effort by going and subscribe to our website at www.repairoftheblackfamily.com. And with that being said, thank you so very much, and may God continue to bless you. Peace. Heal on purpose.